Happy Monday, Dean. How are you?
Is there anything like we had St. Patrick's Day last week?
We
So
did.
is there any other holiday coming up? There's nothing left in March. There are no Easter, I guess, might be coming up.
Easter's coming up pretty
Yeah,
quick.
okay. Well,
17th, I
anyway,
think, of April.
so we have that to look forward to. In the meantime, I had a really interesting opportunity last week talking to a customer, a prospective customer, and in my business, everyone, every website, everyone who does their own email sequences, everybody who does their own copywriting, excuse me, almost exclusively focuses on what we consider the first level of copywriting and messaging, which is informational. Like we inform, here is who we are and what we do, right? But where everyone, especially in B2B, everyone should be aspiring to is to get one level up from that to inspirational, which is you could be a better person, you could be a better company if you had what I sell.
Yes.
So, informational, the world is just awash in informational stuff. And then inspirational, where you're now figuring out what the positive future for a customer could be and then describing it to them so they get there. The reason that the conversation with the prospective client last week, now I guess officially a client because they've made a deposit, the is the opportunity to be transformational. Now, I can tell you that from years and years of doing this, you almost never have a chance in a B2B context to do transformational kind of writing, transformational copy. And so just like let's reiterate right from the beginning, right? Informational, this is who we are and what we do. Inspirational, you could be a better person or a better company if you had what I sell. Transformational, you could be a different person. You could be a different company if you had what I sell. Outside of B2C, you almost never see transformational writing opportunities. Now, in
Yes.
B2C, even in B2C, it's not that common. It tends to concentrate in certain fields: diet, health and fitness, beauty. It's sort of implied a little bit in fashion, right? Wear these clothes and you'll be this person. And some sort of consumer goods like Coke, right? Classic, actually, not Coke Classic, but the classic ad for Coke was the "I want to teach the world to sing," right? Like that's absolutely transformational messaging. Buy this glass bottle with fizzy sugared water in it and make the world a better place. So, and that's why that ad stands out. It's hard to do transformational, even in B2C, but the chance to do it in a B2B environment is it's so interesting,
And
a
extraordinary.
challenge that I didn't even I'm even charging them like an old grandfathered rate that I don't even like charge anymore. Like I don't let anyone buy my time or attention at that lower rate. But it's a, it's like if you want, I would love to do lots of transformational kind of projects, right? And the only way to get lots of something is to get some of something first. And the only way to get some of something first is to get one more of something now. And then ultimately build on that to be someone who gets to write for those kind of companies and do that kind of messaging. So I'm really excited about this because I think I'm going to start tackling it as early as Wednesday. Today's Monday, and it's going to be a emotional and intellectual climb to fully encapsulate in good copy what this company can do and provide for its clients. Have you ever had a chance to? We all kind of start with informational copy anyway, right? But have you ever had a chance to sort of try to work it up into inspirational?
I always try to work in a more inspirational and transformational way. And the reason behind that is because I think so few people do it, that
Yeah,
that's where the real chance to shine is for most companies and be original and be a thought leader. You've got to be in that space. You can't be
right.
just informational. You have to move up the levels.
Yeah, informational is definitely the easiest, right? Because
Hmm.
to us, if you imagine, I wish I had my usual graphic that I could throw up on the screen for this, but I don't. If you imagine that just a line across a screen, right? A line on a page. And on one end of that is you, and on the other end of that is some stranger or person that you know, but usually some stranger that you're trying to influence and communicate with. And by communicate, I mean you have something, you have a fact, you have an idea, you have an emotion, whatever, and you need to get it all the way to the other end of the line and into the other person, right? Now, if you went just a quarter of the way, you could just say, here are all the books and articles that I read. And then if you were going to go halfway to meeting them, which is where most people think that they need to go and then stop,
Mhm.
and that's where a lot of informational, copy is, a lot of informational messaging is here's everything that I read and did, but I've summarized it so that you know what it is that I'm trying to communicate to you. You pick it up and then take it the other 50% of the way. And that's always a mistake. Always a mistake. In fact, there isn't a single person whose sort of life and brain isn't already full. And so
Yeah.
you shouldn't think of it as I'm going to take it halfway and then they're going to pick it up and go the other 50%. You should think of it as I have something that I want them to know or feel or do, and their life is already so full that I need to go way past having them do really any of the work. So you want to take it 90% of the way there. So that means you need to really hone what you're trying to communicate and say, right? You're trying to imagine their context when they're encountering or experiencing whatever it is that you're trying to communicate so that it fits into something. This goes back to what we were talking about with the Stephen Covey example, right?
Right.
And the sort of two lessons from the Stephen Covey example and, the sand and the big rocks and the priorities in your life were one, we need to realize that we're the sand in other people's lives, not the rocks. We think that we're important, but we're a lot less important to them than we are to ourselves. But secondly, that Covey himself was following the advice that he hadn't given, which is he was considering that he was the sand in his audience's life, not one of the rocks.
Hmm.
And he figured out a demo where he was able to communicate what he needed to communicate very simply and powerfully by taking his message 90% of the way to the end. By the way, I don't think that most of the time it's worthwhile to go past 90% unless you've got a lot of time and a lot of money. And by the time you get past 90%, that last 10%, you're essentially just conveying an emotion. Right? You can't fit a lot of information into the final 10%. I'll give you a couple of examples of the final 10%. Just do it. Or da 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 da. Do you recognize that jingle? Who's it from?
Hmm.
Right? It's McDonald's, right? And so at that point, I mean, it's McDonald's could just play that in a 3-second radio ad, and enough of the audience would understand. Oh yeah, that's right, McDonald's. Am I hungry? But it takes a long time and a lot of money to drill that into enough people's heads so that you can just say that and you convey what you want them to convey, which is come over here and give me some money for some food. But 90% is hard, but it's doable by just about everybody if you're willing to put in the time and the effort to think about what the other person is experiencing and how they're going to interpret the main point you're trying to give them, usually just a single point that you're trying or feeling that you're trying to convey, and then really putting all the weight on that you can. Now that's why and that gets you to inspirational, and then transformational is where you're really trying to do the other 10%, but without spending years and millions of dollars to do it. That's why it's
Right.
such an interesting writing challenge, right? It's
Hmm.
so exciting to be able to take a crack at that. I mean, I don't even sell anything in my own businesses that's transformational, where you will be a different company if you buy what I sell.
Hmm. I don't know that that's really true
Why is that?
because I know the work that you do.
Yes, but
I
I
think
mean,
they
like
are
for
a different
the
company
webinar
if they buy
business,
what you
right?
sell. Yeah.
I mean, in the webinar business where me and the team take over every single thing from helping someone choose a topic to managing MailChimp or whatever system they're
Right.
using, right? Helping them write and script out the presentation and the analytics and exports to Salesforce, and all of the 50 plus steps that every webinar project has. Even if even if someone outsources the whole thing to me, it's not like they're a different company. by doing that.
It's not like they're a different company, but
They're a better company. It's
they're a better
inspirational,
company,
but
and
not transformational.
my definition of transformational might be a little different. My definition of transformational is somebody getting a result that helps them leap forward in a huge way. And I can't imagine that the people that you're working with aren't getting a huge result and making a
definitely
leap
getting a
forward
huge
in a
result.
huge way. So to me, that is definitely a subset of transformational if it's not exactly the definition that you're bringing up. So they are making a huge transformation. They're making a big shift in their business, and it's maybe you're not changing their corporate culture, but you
No, I don't
certainly
think I am. I think for the marketing, if you don't think about the whole company and you just think about like the marketing team
right.
and what they're able to do, it's closer to transformational for them
Yes.
because something that they hate doing and that is never going to be important enough to them to hire enough specialists
Or
for
maybe
every
they
single
can't do it
piece,
all. Yeah.
right?
They have no way of doing it.
Instead, it's just send an email. We would like to do, we want to do a webinar on the 27th of next month. And that's
Yeah.
it, right? That sets
Right.
the whole thing in motion. Yeah, you're in a very different webinar team
Mhm.
when all it takes is one email or a quick phone call or a text. And a
Exactly.
whole bunch of things happens and gear start flying and everything on out here, but you don't have to actually do any of the work or heavy lifting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, you could probably argue that there's a couple different levels of transformational.
Yeah, everything's
You
a
know?
spectrum.
Yeah, everything's a spectrum.
Yeah.
And at the highest level, you're making a huge, huge difference, changing corporate culture, changing the way they do business
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. So, I mean, I'd say there's probably a couple levels of transformational.
Well, the nice thing about this new client is it's like the final level. Like they would be a different
Yeah,
company
yeah, yeah.
after they
That's
purchase
cool.
what this client sells. So that's going to be an exciting writing project. Really looking forward to it.
Yes, amazing place to be.
All right. I think that's about all I had. We had invited Dr. V to come on just in case, and he's always welcome. He's probably watching this on a replay soon, but he's always welcome. But I think it'll be interesting to have Chris. I'm going to call him Chris. Have Chris come on and talk to us and push back some ideas.
Be
But in the
careful what you
meantime,
wish for.
exactly. But in the meantime,
That would be fun.
informational, lowest level, don't stop
Yeah.
there. Definitely aspire to go up one level from where you are. So if you're at informational, try to be inspirational. And if it's inspirational, take a hard look and see if you can manage anywhere on the spectrum of transformational. Because transformational is an exciting place for your company to sell into.
Yeah.
It also eliminates a lot of the price pushback because what's transformation worth?
Right. And inspirational and transformational is really what your clients are looking for. Lots of companies inform, but very few are on the top levels of
Most of them,
inspiring and
they
being
stop. It's like
transformational.
most marketing groups. They think that getting the word out is the beginning and end of their job as marketers. And really, it's just the first level. It's the informational part.
The lowest level.
Right. Okay. That's it for me. Happy Monday. I'm glad we're back.
Me too.
Yeah. And I will see you tomorrow.
Sounds good. I'll be here.
All right. Thanks, John. Bye.
You're welcome.